Hello everybody, hope you're doing well, and it's that time again to look at another entire league's worth of new football shirt releases. The Canadian Premier League is beginning, and they've released all of the shirts, at least most of the shirts have been released for the season that are going to be worn, and I think it's time to look at them. Now, the Canadian League is only small. There's maybe, 6, 7, 8 teams or something like that, so it's quite easy to run through them all. And the best thing is, they're all sponsored by Macron, so it means generally, most of the shirts that get released are going to be pretty decent. And spoiler alert, I promise you there's going to be one shirt in this list that quite possibly could be candidate for shirt release of the year. If you follow my Instagram or if you've just been following general shirt releases, you've probably seen it floating around. But if you haven't seen it yet, I promise you it will catch your eye at the very least. Anyway, let's jump into it with Atletico Ottawa, and it's their home shirt. Red and white striping. No surprises there. They are, of course, owned by Atletico Madrid in Spain. So it's going to be a colour set that you're going to see on all of their home shirts. There are some chevrons which run down the red stripes in the centre there. Apparently they represent the Rideau Canal. And there's also a giant maple leaf on the back. I feel like the Canadian shirts and the marketing teams have taken inspiration from MLS ones with regards to the descriptions of the designs and what they represent, because the links are tenuous at the very least, I would say. But the shirt is okay, it's alright, but it's red and white stripes. It's a very common colour set, it's difficult to stand out. Then we have the away shirt, which has this blue and teal colour sort of effect. Apparently has the colours of the Ottawa flag, and it represents the waterways of the city. And also there is a red and white trim on the collar, which again harps back to the Atletico Madrid connection. And there are some subtle O's woven into the sort of material going on there. O's, of course, being the nickname of the club. It's cool. It's not too bad. I think if I had to go for one of them, I would go for this one, because I kind of like a little bit of teal on a football shirt. It's not too many of those that I have myself. Cavalry FC. This is their home shirt, and it's a red one, fully red this time, with a little bit of whites running down this sort of sash effort, which is broken up by the sponsor, which is not too bad. There are some angular shapes within that sort of area, which pay tribute to the buildings of the city skyline. Again, tenuous link at best. It's okay, it's not too bad. It reminds me, reminds me of a Lech Poznan shirt. It's like a Macron styling, I guess. It's okay, it doesn't stand out in any way, shape or form. Then we have this one, which is a green one, which I believe is a colour they used previously, so they're just going back to that one because it was quite popular, and it pays homage to the club's military aspect and the Alberta foothills near the Rocky Mountains, should I say. It's cool, it's not too bad. It's got this sort of pattern here, which sort of looks like a tree line, sort of, but it really doesn't. And I quite like the trim on the collar and the sleeves there. I think if I had to choose one, possibly go for this one, maybe, I don't know. They're both kind of okay. They're not amazing shirts, but, you know, can't go crazy every single time. FC Edmonton, the illustrious shirt that I just cannot seem to forget. This one is quite cool. So it's blue, they're natural blue, it pays tributes to the Alberta coat of arms. There is a gold and green along the hem, which represents the forests of the city, and there's also this pink, this rose pink around the cuffs and the collar, which is apparently the official flower of the city. I think it's quite cool. Blue and pink is a colour set you don't see floating around too frequently, and I think it works quite nicely. And you know how much I feel about like pink shirts. Then we have this away shirt, which is kind of cool, very futuristic looking, inspired by the ice castles near Edmonton. Yeah, I can definitely get that, especially on the sleeves where it really gets to that sort of ice colour effort. I quite like it. It's the shard effect. It's a very popular Macron sort of styling. I think this one's possibly the best one. But FC Edmonton have already released their third shirt, the only team so far, at least at the time of recording, to have done so. And this one's inspired by shirts worn by the Edmonton Drillers, who were a team in the late 70s and early 80s. They used to wear orange. And I quite like that. I think paying a tribute to sort of the teams that were like precursors to the ones that currently exist is rather cool. Of course, you know, Canadian football back in the 70s and 80s, as you'd imagine, it wasn't exactly lighting the wall on fire, but I think that's rather cool. I think out of the three, the home or the away would be the one that I'd go for, maybe the away one. Now we have another orange shirt, and this time it's Forge FC. And this one's a little bit more sort of contemporary than the one we just seen, and it apparently represents sparks flying from a hammer. Maybe, possibly, I guess so, but I think it's just the design in general is rather nice. Orange works quite well, especially with sort of red, and I don't know if that's a grey, possibly the grey because of the away shirt, we'll see. That's the colour set using there. I think it's rather nice. It's decent. And then you have the away shirt, which is sort of this steel grey sort of colour with the orange sort of trims and logos, etc. Apparently it pays tribute to the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. And there's also a cinquefoil embossed on the front, which is a flower. You can't really see it in this image, but once you see a more, lifelike person wearing it, then it looks better. Out of the two, I think I would genuinely go for this one, because the detailing is rather nice just when you see it in person. Next we have Halifax Wanderers FC, and these two shirts that they've released are kind of pretty simple. You know, sometimes you don't have to go crazy. There is apparently an ocean wave design running across the front, sort of similar style to the one that's at the bottom of their crest. It's a simple effort. It's got this darker blue and the lighter blue. The round neck collar, I'm not a huge fan of that, if I must admit, but it looks okay. It's a simple enough shirt. And then you have the away shirt, which again is probably even more simple, white shirt with just sort of this trim, which is this Nova Scotian tartan, which I quite like that actually. I don't mind tartan on a football shirt. I have a few that have that colour set, and I don't know, would I want a little bit more? I think because there's a small amount, it's quite subtle, but imagine having a full shirt like that. That'd be quite wild. If I had to choose one, I'd probably go for this away shirt. It's cool, it's understated. Now we have Pacific FC, and this home shirt is really, really cool. So it's purple, not a colour set you see floating around too often, and there's a sublimated Douglas fir pattern, representing the trees that cover much of Vancouver Island. That's really, really nice. I like that. It's always good when they can sort of incorporate sort of nature into a shirt. There's going to be one coming up soon, which has a wheat-inspired sort of design. And it's cool. It'd be one of those ones where you see it in real life. Does it look as sort of prominent as it does in this image here, or is it a little bit more understated? What isn't understated, though, is their away shirt. This is their away shirt. How crazy is that? Yes, this is the shirt I was referring to at the beginning of the video, which I think possibly could be the shirt of the year. It is wild. So apparently it showcases a salmon and a child's face, representing the rejuvenation and resilience of Indigenous people. So when I was reading about it, apparently this is the first Canadian sports shirt, not necessarily in football, but across all sports, that have a true and proper representation and tribute to Indigenous peoples of Canada, which I think is a great thing initially. But the way they've done the pattern is just beautiful. And yes, what I'm thinking in my head is this shirt will look perfect next to my Club America third shirt, which has the same colour set and styling of the design. This is going to be one of the shirts that I'm aiming for. When it was released, it sold out immediately, so they're taking pre-orders right now. Usually with Canadian shirts, they appear on the Macron website in the UK, full price of course, which is generally about £65 to £70. And then, usually a season later, they appear on classic football shirts for cheaper. But not every single shirt gets there, and I really think that this shirt won't get there because it will just sell out. So this is one you're probably, if you are interested of course, probably going to have to pay close to full retail just to make sure you can get it, which is probably what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to be paying close attention to the Macron store just to see when it becomes available. I think it's really cool. Maybe it's one of those ones in real life it might look a little bit worse, but I don't think so. I think it's definitely right up my street. Valor FC. This is the only Canadian team that I have in my collection that comes with a sponsor, and this one doesn't really have any sort of key characteristics standing out, tributes or anything like that. It's just the typical colour set, the black, the gold, and sort of this burgundy colour. It's nice. It's just simple. Gold, black. This colour set just works well, and sort of the collar there, it's not too bad. Then we have the away shirt, which is, again, understated. Doesn't have any sort of wild tributes to anything crazy. It's just white and gold, which some people prefer the white and gold combination over sort of the black and gold, which is quite popular. Now, there is a little embossed pattern of wheat stalks, which mirrors the wheat stalks found in the crest of the club. But other than that, there is not really much else floating around. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a Nice shirt with their sort of white and gold effort. But I already have a Valor FC shirt, so I don't really have to worry about trying to decide which one I'd want out of the two. And then finally we have York United FC, and this is their home shirt. It's a white effort, and it has this cool little motif in the centre, which has a silhouette of both the forests to the north of the York region and the Toronto skyline to the south. That's really cool. I like the way they've sort of transitioned it away across the side there, and the sponsor fits quite nicely in the shirt there. Does have a round neck collar again, which is not my favourite, but I'd rather like the design. And then the final shirt is of course, their away one, and this one is possibly my second favourite shirt out of the lot. Every second diamond shape has a shiny texture and bears either a maple leaf or a symbol of the club. I really like that, especially with the gold and then sort of the green offset against this blue. Really nice. It looks like it's got a button collar. Very good. Reminds me of an 1860 Munich shirt, sorry. I don't know why it does. I think it's just because of the styling. There has been a shirt released recently that was similar to it, I think. Possibly this season's away shirt or third shirt. But I think it looks, I think it's really, really nice. So out of the two, I'd probably go for the York away and the Pacific away for sure. But yeah, let me know. What do you think of these shirts? Some pretty cool stuff in there. Some understated ones that, which, you know, I don't think I'd be upset with any of them. But some certainly stand out more than others. I think if you're looking to collect a full league of shirts, Canadian League's probably one of the best ones to start with because there's so few teams. I mean, you could probably collect literally every shirt released in a season. And it would be quite expensive, but it's definitely doable. But anyway, that's it. Quick little video about Canadian Premier League. Don't really know anything about the actual league itself, but I know some of the shirts are very nice. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great weekend ahead, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.